The recording. Hello everyone, this is Karen Owens. Thank you for attending. And today we're going to be going over Blackboard's new content accessibility tool called Ally. If you have questions, please either speak up or type in the chat. Between Scott and I, we should see those and get those answered as we're going through. So as you know, Blackboard is fully committed to making sure that all of our products are accessible from the ground up. So Blackboard Learn itself is accessible. We work with the standards, the W3C, WCAG 2.0 standards. We also work with a lot of different institutions such as Gallaudet and the National Federation of the Blind to validate and go through that. The product itself has DPATs. We have third parties evaluate our tools to make sure everything is accessible. But what we really are looking at with Ally then is the content that faculty input into their courses may or may not be as accessible. And so that's where Ally concentrates, is on that faculty created content. We want to make sure that all of our students have access to that content. And so everyone, no matter what disability they may have, can actually get access to their education. So that actually is our mission at Blackboard, and Ally helps support that. In the entire life cycle of the student, there's lots of different areas where they're looking at content. Ally itself, for Ally Within Learn, concentrates on the courses area. We do have Ally for Web to help in these other areas, such as your financial aid and admissions, and making sure all of those documents are accessible. Research has shown that about 60 to 80% of undergrads do not disclose a disability, even though they may have one. So that's a large portion of the students. For those students that have disclosed, most institutions have a policy, they have a department, the students go to that department, they can get their content in accessible formats and so forth. But all of those who don't disclose, nobody's helping them because no one even knows that they need additional help. And so by creating and using Ally, it helps all of those students. So the students who have not disclosed do then have access to alternative formats, and even students who do not have disabilities but choose maybe just to learn in a different manner can also have access to that content. So today I'm going to be going over three different parts. I'm going to show the student perspective, the faculty's perspective, and an administrative side. So first, let's start with the students. Your students, as we just talked about, there's a whole spectrum of needs. We have those who have the disclosed disabilities. They may be blind, they may be deaf, they may have physical challenges, and so forth. So all of those obviously need alternative formats for their content. But you may have other students where it's just a learning style. If someone is dyslexic, they may learn better by listening to the content as they read it. Some of it may just be lifestyle. We have a single mom as a student at one of our institutions, and she is so busy running her kids around and cooking and getting dinner ready and all those types of things for her kids that it made it difficult for her to sit down and read her course content. And so she loved having an audio version of her course content so she could listen to it as she's driving the kids around or as she's doing other things. So some of this may be actual disabilities, but Ally can also be used to really help those students maybe with just a different lifestyle or workflow. There's also just content can vary dramatically, all the different formats, and so that can make it difficult if they're trying to get screen readers to read different content. You know, if it's a different format, sometimes that can cause issues. Even if they have disclosed and they go to the office, it may take a little while to get that, because we find that at the beginning of the term, you know, all the students come at the same time. They want all the content converted all at once, all at the same time, and so the Office of Disability tends to be a little overwhelmed because everybody came in at the same time. And so it just takes a little while to get through all that, but students sometimes then have a delay in getting their course content. Also, faculty have a tendency to change materials. That's actually very good that they create course content, they update their course content, but that just requires students to go through that whole process all over again. So what if students could get all their alternative formats without having to make any special arrangements as soon as that content appears in the course? And so that's what we're going to see here in Ally. As I share my screen, I've actually logged into, let's log in to Learn as a student. So I have my student Chip. Oops. There we go. So Chip is here in Learn, and then Chip can navigate to any of his courses. And as he comes into a course, he sees here that there's a document that he's supposed to read. I have that document opened already here in the Word document. There it is. And you can see this Word document has different fonts, it has contrast, some different colors of font, it has multiple columns. As I scroll down, we see tables, again, different contrasts and different fonts all throughout this document. And so that can be more difficult for a screen reader to read and navigate through, or if you have someone with visual impairments, the different contrasts may be difficult to see. So what we have done is automatically the system creates these alternative formats for the student. So the student just clicks on the chevron and then they can get to the alternative formats. So Chip can come in and see and get a tagged PDF, a semantic HTML, which the semantic HTML is a HTML version of the document where we've gone through the WCAG 2.0 AA standards. There's over 80 things that it's checking, such as contrast and fonts and table headers and alternative descriptions and so forth. And it corrects the things that it can and creates that semantic HTML version. It also creates an EPUB version, an electronic braille version, an audio version, and then the translated version is still in beta. We have it here on ours, but not rolled out to everyone yet, where students can get the translated version of that document. And they can download any of those versions. I've already downloaded those, so let's look at a couple of those. So we saw that Word document, but here is the semantic HTML document. You can see that it's taking care of fonts, it's taking care of contrast issues, it took out those multiple columns, and so forth through here. So that just makes it much easier for a screen reader or even for someone without a screen reader to read through this document. Also have created that EPUB version, And so the EPUB version is something, the version they can use any of their readers. So if they have Kindles or tablets or anything like that, they can use the EPUB version. EPUB version also allows them to do some markup. So they can come in and go through the headers of their document. They can read and they can highlight, they can add marks and so forth through that. So that just makes it nice for the student as they're going through the document to put those types of reminders in the document so they can come back and see those later. It also creates that audio version. Here, let me play that.
Title, Vincent van Gogh. Begin heading level 3, Vincent van Gogh. Begin heading level 4, Summary of Van Gogh's life. Begin paragraph text, Vincent van Gogh, March 30th, 1853, July 29th.
So just to give you an idea of that audio version. So all of those versions are available immediately for the student once that content is uploaded into the course. So questions at this point on what the student can see? Can we hear how the audio reads the table? Oh, okay. I'll have to play around to see if I can.
Vincent van Gogh. Begin heading level 3, Vincent van Gogh.
Let me advance a little bit.
Level 4. Summary work that contributed to the foundations of modern art. Is suicide at 37, mental illness and poverty, and popular success over the ensuing decades, and is remembered. Column 2 of 0, 1885. Column 3 of 0, Van Gogh Museum, Amsterdam. Row 3 of 6. Row 3 of 6. Column 1 of 0. Fishing boats on the beach at St. Mary's. Column 2 of 0. June 1888. Column 3 of 0. Van Gogh Museum.
Okay, that gave you the table itself, so you could hear that. Other questions from the student perspective? Yes, so the headers, it will ask, and that's one of the things that Ally is looking for is the headers on the tables. And so, and it inputs, and we're going to see that here from the faculty side as far as what is required of headers and how to input that. Ally also provides input for the faculty on how to actually add headers to the tables. Okay, great. Now they're going to like this next part. So now we're going to move to faculty, unless there's other questions on the student side. I don't see any. So we'll go ahead with the faculty. As we talked about, faculty are only aware of the disclosed disabilities. I actually had a faculty member at one of the institutions say they'd never had a student in their course, any of their courses with a disability. And it was not a new teacher, it was a teacher with some tenure, but he had not had any students, and I would like to just add to that and say he did not have any with disclosed disabilities. He was just not aware of any in his classes that had disabilities. And so he didn't know what they wanted or what they needed because he had nobody as a reference or to ask or to work with. So faculty also are experts in their field and not necessarily in accessibility. So Fan, just like you said, how do we add headers to tables, or what else do we need to do for accessibility? What do we need to add to all of these documents? And then how to add those to the documents are big questions for faculty. especially as their content is changing, and it may seem that it's time consuming to create that, or when they don't know how to create those things or just have not done it before, and they're not aware of any students in their classes who actually need it. So what Ally actually does is when we upload documents into courses, it actually takes those documents and goes through that accessibility checklist based on the WCAG 2.0 AA standard. Again, there's over 80 items that it's checking. And it goes through some machine learning algorithms to try to correct all the different things that it can to create that semantic HTML version. But it does identify all the issues with that document. It then will score that document based on the issues that it's found and provide that score to faculty so they can see how those documents rank, and also provides input on how to correct those documents. When it creates those alternative versions, it's creating that semantic HTML version, an EPUB version, audio version, electronic braille version. Scanned documents are also getting those alternative formats, and will also get an OCR version. So all of those available for students immediately. And we'll see how faculty, the workflow of how faculty actually go through the process in just a second. So just as an example, California State University at Chico enabled Ally. And they were able to make all of their classes more inclusive, so allowing this content, even for those without disabilities, to be there so that students can be more included in the courses. So the single moms, those who commute, those who just have a different learning style can all take part and have the content in the form that they wish. They actually saw a 30% increase in their Ally scores. So the scores that we see for the document, as we will show here, they actually saw those increase because faculty started kind of a competition. It was not started by the institution, but started by the faculty themselves, where they wanted to have the best scores. And so they were kind of competing to have the best scores. So popping back out to actual demo. So oops, is there a question? Yes, they are downloadable to both faculty and students. So let me log in as a faculty member and show this part. So here as a faculty member, if I go into that same course that Chip was in, we see the Introduction to Art course. As I scroll down, as an instructor or an editor of the course, I now see these little dials that are telling me the score for the various documents as well as for the images that have been uploaded into my content area. The students did not see the dials. Remember Chip? He didn't see those dials. The dials are for the editors or the faculty. The faculty can click on those dials, and in this case, it's an image, and it tells them what's incorrect on that image. And so this image doesn't have an alternative description. Blackboard Learn provides a place for you to input an alternative description every time you upload an image, but many kind of skip past that field. So here you need to add an alternative description, and so maybe I can just type it in here. But the description. So first of all, I can read about what is an alternative description, why it matters, and how I can write a good one. So it helps me right here. I don't have to go do other research or figure out how to do it elsewhere. It tells me right here how to do that. So I can step through those steps, and then I can input the alternative description right here. And so I add that in, and you'll see, oh, my score went up. It only went up to 61% because this image contains text that is not in the alternative description. So this graph has lots of text that has the dates and so forth through here. So I should, in my alternative description, be describing all of those points. And that's what this error is saying. So then I can go through the process of fixing that next issue. So it will step me through so that I can get the alternative description in there for my image. We also have that for the document here. So here is the document that Chip had open. Instructors have other options when they click on that chevron, but they do also have those alternative formats, so they can see that list of alternative formats just like the student did, and they can download those just like the student did. But here we want to look at the actual dial or scoring for that particular document. So if we click on that for the document now, this document also is missing alternative descriptions. Again, if I forgot what that was, I can go through what is an alternative description. But here, since it's a document, the way to add alternative descriptions is different. And so how to add descriptions, it's going to step me through. Was that an Office 365 document, 2016, Word, whichever type of document, it will then step me through the proper instructions so I can figure out exactly how to add that alternative description. I can go ahead and get a list of all the different issues. The document did not have headings. The tables did not have the headers. So Van, for your specific one, faculty weren't sure how to add the headers to all of those tables. So I want to fix that. What does that mean? What do I have to have? What are the headers? So first it describes that to me. And then I can go on how do I set the table headers, excuse me. So if it's a Word document, it will step me through what I need to do to actually add those headers to my Word document. So it will step me through all of those different processes. Now, as a faculty member, the next question is, well, what do I have to do to get this to work? Well, you can add documents just like you always have before. So if you add an item or add a file, I'll just call it Fan for now, and you can come in, and if you're going to attach, I have the Word document over here. I'm just going to drop it and submit it. That's my normal process. So the same way that you always have added documents before, that document can be added. It gets added to the bottom of the page. It takes 2 to 3 minutes for those alternative formats to appear. And we have to pop off the page and pop back. We'll give it just a second. It takes 2 to 3 minutes for those to appear. The first time you turn it on, it may take a couple days for Ally to go through all the courses that are currently in the system and all of the files that you currently have out there. That's going to depend on how many you had before. We don't know how many documents and so forth you have out there, but usually a couple days to create that, and then they all will have those. So it's not just the new documents, it's all the existing documents in the system will also get their scores and their rankings. So while we're waiting on that one to appear, any other questions? Okay, I'm not seeing other questions, and there we go. So there our document has gone through that accessibility check and now has those alternative formats. So just a couple minutes usually for those all to appear. Other questions from the faculty perspective? Quiet group. Okay. We'll go ahead then and look at, yes, go ahead. At this point, we do not provide transcripts or closed captioning for videos or audio files. We are working on that, and that is in the roadmap. We do check YouTube videos. If it's a YouTube video, we do check and see if it is closed captioning, and so provide that information in the report that we're going to be showing here. So the report shows you the documents in the system, the documents or the videos in the system, and whether or not they have closed captioning. So at least we have that first step to understand if there are things out there without closed captioning, and we are working on getting that closed captioning or audio transcribing capabilities in the system, but that is on the roadmap. Other questions? Okay, great. So moving on then to institutional challenges. So as an institution, many institutions do not know how many documents are out in all of their courses. Every faculty member has rights to create their course content. They can add, change, and so forth, because that's the faculty's freedom. They have that capability. And so as an institution, we don't know, how many documents are out there. We're also not sure of the total number of students, since they don't all disclose that actually need those. So it's hard to understand if you're meeting the needs. And so that is where our final step, the administrative side, comes in, is to focus on providing you the information of what kind of issues do we have out there? What do we need to be working on? How can we best train our faculty? What kind of trends are we seeing? So given that, we'll go ahead and share my desktop again. And so from an administrative side, we have reports that show you how the system is doing overall. And so first we can look at how with or without Ally. And so before Ally, here's what the accessibility is, and then with Ally, did that improve? Now ours here on our demo site improves slightly, but we purposely keep loading poor documents for examples, and we don't fix them purposely, so because we want to be able to show that. But hopefully your faculty then, provided those scores and that information, can fix their documents. We can also see some more details as we scroll down. So we can see our total number of courses, the types of content. So they have items, we have documents, we have PDF documents, we have images. So it tells us what types of content is out there. And then it provides the actual scores. So this is a summary of the scores. and the types of issues that it is finding. You can see them sorted or filtered if you want to see them filtered, but those also display here. So my top concern is images, because I have a lot of my documents do not have alternative descriptions in them. The next one is contrast issues. So I have a lot of documents with contrast issues. So maybe I want to send out some help for our faculty members, or through announcements or something, talking about alternative descriptions and contrast issues. That is provided in that feedback that we give to faculty on those dials, but just overall, this will help you as an institution understand maybe where you can direct some of that training. You can actually dive in and it will tell you exactly where those courses are that have those images and how many students are enrolled in those courses. So you can see how many students are affected by that alternative image not having a description. You can also see this course by course. So we can go through each course and see what the overall score is for each course and how many documents are in that course. So it helps you as an institution understand how many documents you have out there, how many images you have out there, and where the actual issues or concerns lie. So questions on that? Great question. Currently, no, but that is on our shorter term roadmap. I'm trying to remember if that was planned by the end of the year. We have monthly updates to Ally. If not by the end of the year, fairly soon is that score, overall score for the course being provided to the faculty members inside of their course. Any other questions? No other questions? Okay. So again, it's providing those alternative accessible versions for students and faculty immediately within a couple minutes. Provides that instructor feedback and guidance. So what needs to be fixed and why they should fix it and even how to fix it. And then also provides the institutional report. So you just have an idea of how many documents are out there and what kind of concerns are the biggest ones in your system so that you can focus the right training for your faculty. If you'd like to try out Ally, if you go to our new course sites, new.coursesites.com, Ally is enabled in that site, so you can export your current course and import it into course sites and get the scoring from Ally on your documents. Or you could just take your documents if you wanted to just upload your documents into your courses there on that course site. We also have a user group and a community page dedicated to Ally, so you can see other questions and comments and how Ally is advancing. Any other questions or comments?
It doesn't sound like there are. This is Scott Kaplan again. So I just want to thank everybody. Let's see. I'll just share one thing, which is that there are now, I think there's 15 or 16 schools in New Jersey that have adopted and implemented Ally to work with their LMS. It works with Canvas, works with Moodle Rooms, you know, obviously, and then works with Learn, of course. So, if you want to talk to any other of the schools or your local schools that are right up the road from you, just let me know. Okay, any other thoughts or comments or questions or areas that maybe you would like us to drill into a little bit deeper or a little bit differently?
Hi Scott, this is Fan. Yeah, so Hila step out, but yeah, this is good. And we gather this information and we got our questions answered. My like one thought from myself. I was like thinking the same question about if the instructor can see that report, because a lot of instructor or even maybe they can be put on your roadmap that dean or chairperson from the departments, they would like to know the um, workload before they start to develop that course. That's our reality here. So if in the future the dean, like individuals that we assign, except for the system admin as myself, can have access to that kind of report, it will be really helpful.
Yeah, Fan, and we all agree with you completely. With some of the schools, because you can do this in the reporting, I don't recall if we showed it, you can download it to an Excel spreadsheet and then you can sort it and ship it out yourselves. You can create some standard, easy to read formats off of Excel if that was what you wanted to do, or you can just push the reports out. So we'll find out the date of when it becomes just push button. But I know the other schools, really across the board, there's about 450 schools now using this across the United States. And, that's what most of them are doing is very much what you suggested. Anything else from anybody out there before we, thank you, before we shut down here?
No, I think we're all good. Thank you guys.
All right, thank you. And Fan and Sophia, I will email you the recording within the next hour or so. All
Okay,
right.
sounds good. Thank
All
you,
right.
Karen. Thank you, Scott.
All right. See you later. Okay, bye.
Okay.
Okay, bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.